Greetings, I am Herbert Erpaderp, and it's time to check out the entries from the it has been a while now, but it's the relatively recently ended group build that took place on my Discord server. The topic was local Limelight, which, as the name somewhat implies, is about modelling anything that pertains to an event, structure, or movement which happened in the entrant's local area. Basically, anything below national level. So something local to a state or province or county or city. You get the idea. A new group build has already begun, and I'll talk about that at the end of the video. Also, I apologise for it taking so long for me to get this video out. Things have been busy, and there have been issues. Anyway, let's have a look at the entries. First up, Fessor 2000 has entered this mosquito. In particular, it's Mosquito OH-H, hull number PZ222 of the 107th Squadron, flown by Air Vice Marshal Sir Basil Emby. This aircraft took part in both the attack on the Shell House in Copenhagen and Aarhus University, which I'm almost certainly saying wrong. The thing of note about that is that happens to be where Fessor earned their master's degree. This is a 48th scale model, I assume from Tamiya, but that wasn't noted, and Fessor says, unfortunately no images of this aircraft exist, so it's pretty much just their best guess as to what it would have looked like. From the couple of photos and a short movie that's supposedly from the Aarhus raid, it seems that the Mosquitoes didn't carry external tanks or bombs, and that they had full invasion stripes around the body of the aircraft. I'm guessing they would have had stripes on the wings, at least underneath, and maybe on top as well, but there was no evidence either way. I personally don't know anything about those raids, so I would just be guessing too, but sometimes it's interesting to speculate about that kind of thing. And you do have a nice looking model as a result, and that's always a bonus. Herchion's entry is a diorama which depicts the forces of Mary Queen of Scots meeting the Regent's army. The announcement of this group build was the day after the anniversary of the execution of Mary Queen of Scots, and this model represents the Battle of Langside almost 19 years prior, which occurred about a kilometre away from where Herchion lives. This diorama is in 56 scale. The building is from Sarissa Precision, the figures are conquistadors from Wargames Atlantic, and the cart is scratch-built with wheels from Charlie Foxtrot. The walls are from Warworld Gaming, with some scratch-built posts, and the flag is cloth from Herchion's wife's fabric stash. The area is now known as Battlefield, which I guess makes sense, and this photo is of a monument in the area. The names of the streets and pubs in this area reflect this bit of local history, which I think is kind of cool. Major General Bunk's entry depicts Tommy James, Lion of Harama, which I initially wanted to pronounce as Jarama, because that's how it's spelt, but the description included the pronunciation Harama, which I'm probably still saying wrong. Anyway, the information included about Tommy James is quite lengthy, but it was interesting to read. To condense it a bit, the man was born in Bunk's hometown of Rotherham in 1898. He was drafted to fight in World War I, which he survived, and ended up becoming a communist and political commissar during the Spanish Civil War, which he also survived, living until 1971. Bunk says, despite his fanatical devotion to communism, a viewpoint he does not share, Bunk considers him to be a local hero due to his service in World War I, the meat grinder of Harama, and his non-violent political activism in Yorkshire. His friends called him a lion of a man due to his imposing stature and determined attitude to hold on to his beliefs. His personal bravery, campaigning for peace, and participation in the fight against fascism earned him a commemorative plaque on the 17th of September 2020. The model is in 72nd scale, and that's all the information I have. The base is quite nice, and I really like the flag. Good work all round. Musset's entry depicts a gun emplacement at Fort York, built in 1864, and which happens to be a few miles north of Musset's hometown of Salisbury, North Carolina. It saw action in April of 1865, when Union General Stoneman attempted to destroy the bridge which the fort guarded. Meeting heavy resistance, and after losing many of his cannon in an artillery duel with the rebel fort, Stoneman made the decision to retreat, failing to destroy the bridge. The battle at Fort York would be one of the very last Confederate victories in the war, occurring in the days following the surrender of Robert E. Lee at Appomattox. Am I saying that right? Probably not. The model is in 72nd scale, and that's all I know, though I do know that it's some good work, and it looks even better in the natural sunlight. Very nice. And last, by virtue of alphabetical order, Mr. Themo's entry, M4 Sherman B-22 of the Canadian South Alberta Regiment. This tank fought during the liberation of Mr. Themo's hometown, Bergen op Zoom, which I'm almost certainly not saying correctly. At any rate, it's a town in the Netherlands. Bergen op Zoom was liberated on the 27th of October, 1944. The 10th Canadian Infantry Brigade advanced on the left flank of the 4th Canadian Armoured Division's attack. Bergen op Zoom was liberated after the Canadians overcame stiff opposition from German paratroopers south of the town. Included are some historical pictures which are, hopefully, fine to show here. The model is in 35th scale and obviously it's a Sherman of some sort, which also, obviously, has been painted very nicely. Awesome. Okay, so that's all the entries for this group build. I hope everyone had fun working on their models. It's always enjoyable for me to see the progress being made. As I mentioned at the start of the video, there is currently another group build underway, the topic of which is big guns, which is about as simple as it sounds. Your model has to feature a projectile weapon that is at least close to 80mm, give or take. You can argue for a bit of leeway there, as long as the projectile weapon is what would conventionally be described as big. It can be on its own or mounted on a transport trailer, wheeled or tracked platform, fortress, naval vessel, or spaceship, so there's a lot of options there. The normal group build rules apply for this build, and if you're unsure of the rules, they're easily found over on Discord in the group build info section. This build has been underway since the 24th of April and it will run until 8 PM on the 19th of June, Central European summertime. That means if this is something of interest to you, there is still a good amount of time to get something built. Aside from these videos, the group build takes place entirely on Discord, so obviously to take part you'll need to go there. There's a convenient link in the description below. As always, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who participates in the group builds. I always really enjoy seeing the progress being made and then the results. And an additional big thank you to Monol, the group buildsman, for taking care of this whole thing. I appreciate that a lot. If you have any questions about the group build, Discord is the place for that. Other comments can go in the comment section, if you're into that sort of thing. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell to be notified when there's a new Herbert Erpaderp video, and if you'd like to see the videos a bit early, consider becoming a patron. You can find links to Patreon and all of my other things like Discord and social media in the description below. Take care of yourselves, be excellent to each other, and thanks for watching. Farewell.